Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour, we're going to find out about Girl Up. I think there should be an exclamation point after that because it's really exciting. And you'll find out about it in just a moment. After the usual, I would like to invite you to give us a call this evening if you have a question for my wonderful guest, whom you will meet momentarily. You can give us a call at 781-270-9199. Or you can always email me if you have a suggestion for a future topic, or if you have a question for later on, you can email me at talk@bcattv.org. We do have a small crew this evening, but they are small but mighty. We have Chris Flaherty, who is a staff member here at BCAT, making sure that everything runs smoothly. And we have Colleen Moore, who gives up her Wednesday night pretty much all the time to come help me out. So thank you both for coming this evening. I would like to thank my husband, Paul, as usual, for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Hopefully, homework is going smoothly. And now I would like to introduce my wonderful guest for this evening, Jessie Goober, who is a junior at Burlington High School.
Yes.
Go Red Devils!
Yes, go Red Devils!
I had to say that. I'm sorry.
I'm a cheerleader at the high school. I am super peppy, so go Red Devils.
Okay. And you're even wearing, the correct shade of red. So
yeah, go Red Devils.
So, but the reason why you were here is
we are going.
Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about the Red Devils, and it's okay. But you established a chapter of Girl Up here in Burlington.
Yes.
Which we're going to talk about shortly.
Yes.
But you already mentioned you're a cheerleader.
Yes.
What other thing? Tell me a little bit about your background. Obviously, you grew up in Burlington, but what are some of your activities, and how did you find out about Girl Up? How did you get involved? How did you, just go.
So I've lived in Burlington my entire life, and I did sports growing up, every single sport you could imagine, and then
Curling!
I wasn't good at them, so I stuck to cheering mainly, and I have cheered for 6 or 7 years, like since I was in 5th grade. I'm not very good at math, but 6 years.
For a while.
And so, and now I'm going to be the captain of the varsity team this coming up year,
Cool.
and so that's a very big part of my fall and my life, and really all year. And so that's one of the main things I do. I'm also a big part of the musical. I always do the musical every year at the high school.
What musical are they doing?
This year it's Pippin, and everyone should come see it.
Okay.
It's March 16th and 17th, and then the weekend after, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and it's going to be fantastic. And I'm so excited. So that's another big part of my life and what I do.
Okay.
Music and acting.
Wow, I guess I'm really lucky with this, busy social calendar that you're able to come and talk to me. So thank you.
Yes. And Girl Up is a big part of my life, and also I'm the head of communications at in the Burlington DECA Club.
Okay.
And so I run all their social media, all the communications between internal with emails and instant text message reminders. There's a club. The club has about 100 people in it, so I deal with all the communication related to that. And I'm also a member of DECA, and I'm going to DECA States in 2 weekends.
Oh boy. Wait, is that the same weekend as Pippin?
No. Pippin's the weekend after. Somehow my schedule doesn't collapse.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute. It's March. Okay.
So I'm in other clubs and things, but those are like my main things, my day-to-day life, and I also have like a busy academic schedule as well.
Yeah, I've heard that homework can be pretty intense in high school.
I take 2 AP classes, so that on top of like honors curriculum, it's just Burlington High School is such a challenging environment. It's good to have homework and extracurriculars that like drive
and it's amazing that you can fit it all in, because that's a good skill, because once you get to college
you have to do the same thing.
Basically
I have
need to
older
do the same
siblings,
thing.
so I know
and
or not know, but
I just remember going to college going,
time management.
Okay, now what? So good job. So tell me about Girl Up. How did you find out about it? Because up until B News did a story, I didn't know know you guys even not you, but
the whole
organization.
So basically, I have always been very passionate about women's rights and activism, and especially I went to the Women's March last January, like a year ago.
Okay.
And with one of my friends, Mia Campbell, and we were like so empowered by the environment, and it was just like the greatest feeling to have everyone being supportive and just like love is all I can really describe it. And I loved that type of environment, and I really wanted to figure out how I could bring that back with me to my community at Burlington.
Okay.
And so over the summer, I was researching just like different like youth empowerment things, because I was trying to figure out like, well, I want to start something.
Okay, Google.
Yes. And I like literally stumbled upon Girl Up, and I was like, what's Girl Up? And it's a organization that is backed by the United Nations. So the United Nations supports the Girl Up clubs with different advice and things like that to help us have a structure and have a place to donate.
So they help you like administrative.
Yeah, and there's like a leadership structure above us. Like there's a Boston coalition, and then there's like a Massachusetts organization. So like it's a national club. There's like hundreds of clubs across the world that are involved in Girl Up. So I was so surprised that Burlington didn't have a chapter. And I was like, well, I need to bring this to Burlington. And so I talked to four
in your copious
girls.
Spare time.
Well, it was important to me, and I literally talked to 4 girls, and we're like, would you be interested? Because on the website it says you need 5 members. And so they were interested, and I found my English teacher, Miss Nedishin, said she would be the advisor for this club.
I kind of figured you needed an advisor.
Yes,
too,
and
so.
she's extremely supportive with us, and from a few of her classes at the beginning of the year, I kind of had a vibe that she would be supportive of that kind of club, and she teaches the English class.
So wait, when was so it was the beginning of the school year?
This is literally, I found the club in July when I was at Sleepaway Camp and just like looking for things, and then in September I was like, I'm starting it, and a week or 2 into school, once I got up to the courage to like ask her to be the advisor, she was like, let me look into it, sounds good. And I talked to those 4 girls, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have just like an introductory meeting. And 5 people will be there, but I'm gonna spread the word, have people tell their friends, and there were 25 members at the first meeting.
Wow.
There was so many people, they didn't have a place to sit in her classroom. And so
that's a good problem to have.
From there that it would
did all 25 people decide to join, or was it just kind of like...
that's just the beginning. Yes, they came to be members of the club. And then I had, and so basically, yes, so that's how it started.
Okay.
And that's, from there, we started planning events, and we kind of just gelled, I guess. Everyone is so committed. We have meetings every other Wednesday, and there's at least 20 people who show up every other Wednesday. It's the commitment to making change in the world it's really...
The world needs a little bit of change right now, I think.
It's inspiring, the commitment people have to a cause, and it makes me love it, and it's awesome.
Wow. Okay, so you said the first meeting you had about 25 people show up. And you have a consistent 20-ish.
But there's 50 members in total.
50 members, okay.
On our Google Classroom, it says 50 members, 50 active members.
Oh,
and so our first event we did on the International Day of the Girl, which is October 11th.
Okay.
We hosted a table at our lunches, and we had a little sign about what Girl Up was, a lot of informational pamphlets, and we sold red bandanas for $2 and raised money for a program that Girl Up has called School Cycle, and School Cycle is one of the main things we fundraise for, and this is a program that with the money that you fundraise, they buy bicycles for girls in Malawi to physically be able to get to school.
Wow. Okay.
So we decided that was
So you send the money over there and then they buy the bikes.
Yes,
you don't buy the bike. Okay.
And it's, for me to really think about it, I could walk to school if I needed to, but walking miles and miles to then get to school, I can barely get out of bed to get into my car and get to school. I could never imagine what things that discrimination and difficulties these girls face, that they don't even have school buses to get to school.
Wow. I'm even thinking, I don't even know where Malawi is.
Yeah. It took me a long time to figure out how to pronounce it.
Okay, let me find the map.
And Malawi is one of the 8 focus countries that Girl Up has. So this school cycle is a particular time frame when they're just donating those bicycles to Malawi. They donated other things to other focus countries, and so that's just like an example. But at that International Day of the Girl, we had our table. We sold red bandanas, kind of in like a symbolism of Rosie the Riveter and female power, and we had a big bandana that said #MyGirl big banner, excuse me.
Well, it could have been a bandana.
Yes, we had a lot of bandanas, many bandanas. A big banner that said #MyGirlHero, and students that weren't a part of the club just at lunch came and wrote who their girl hero was. So I wrote my Nana, but other people wrote Beyonce, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, people that they are inspired by.
Okay.
And that was so beautiful, the amount of like, even just like people that you wouldn't even expect.
Yeah.
Like so many boys wrote their moms, and it was the cutest thing I've ever seen, and like just things like that.
So you could actually tell who inspired them.
Yes, and that was one of my favorite parts. And so when we were selling the bandanas, we ran out before the juniors and seniors even had lunch.
Wow.
We sold them all. I bought like 40 bandanas. I was thinking like no one's gonna buy these, and I'm just gonna have red bandanas at my house. And so we were like making bracelets and like trying to figure out things, because everyone's like, I want a bandana. Where can I get the bandana? And we, so from that day, I was like, this is something.
Cool.
Something's happening. People are interested. And we gained 20 new members that day.
Oh wow.
15 to 20 new members. And the
is
way
it
we
only
gained,
open to girls?
No, we have like 4 or 5 boys in our club. Actually, there's a boy on our executive board, and I think it's really about, the reason we're focusing on girls is because the boys have those advantages. Yeah. But if it were shifted, we would be focusing on the boys. We're just trying to create a level playing field in the sense that they have equal ability to progress, to succeed, that one isn't having less opportunity.
Okay.
It's all about opportunity.
So, a couple of questions.
Yes.
You sold red bandanas.
Yes.
Are there rules or parameters that the International Board of Girl Up dictates what you can and cannot do for a fundraiser?
No, they just say fundraise. Don't. But their big thing is that they want you to be donating to Girl Up.
Understandable.
The Girl Up programs, and that is something that is a part of our club, but not solely what we are focused on. We're also big on our community as well, like how we can reach out to local women's shelters and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, because the B News story, you were selling balls of yarn or something?
So that's another event we did.
Okay,
so
tell me about that one, then I'll ask my other question.
So this was our third event. So I told you about our first event, now I'll tell you about our third event, or most recent event. We sold yarn again at lunch, little balls of yarn, and what you would do with the balls of yarn is you would knit them into a square 8.5 inches by 8.5 inches.
What if you don't know how to knit?
You have 2 options. You can sponsor me or any other people. There was like 5 people that were being sponsored to knit, or we can teach you. So the idea is that these students and people in the Burlington community could physically make things while donating money and like coming together to do things. And
it's a win-win-win.
The best part about that was we got a gift card from Wegmans to be able to buy the yarn at no cost.
Oh wow! So they basically
Wegmans donated a lot of money to us to be able to buy the yarn, so we could donate every. We raised $160 through this fundraiser. We sold like 30 balls of yarn, and with that, we were able to 30 to 40. I don't remember the exact number.
So you made the 8.5.
So then the goal was for the students to make those, and then give them back to us, the Girl Up Club, and then our advisor helped knit them into a blanket.
Ooh.
And then we donated the blanket. We actually just took our picture today.
So it's just one blanket.
It's just one blanket because
it's a really big blanket.
Yeah, we didn't get to collect every square because not everyone finished or whatever. But it was really about the effort, the fact that we raised $160 for this women's shelter. Like we were donating the money to Rosie's Place, and which is a shelter that help women through certain situations. And I think that aspect of our club is something that a lot of people feel very strongly about, the fact that we're not just talking about girls who are oceans and oceans away. We're also talking about things that affect our community.
Okay.
So that was the most recent event we did, and it was
That's really
people
cool.
loved it. Like, it was surprising
Wow.
how many people were like, I want to buy a ball of yarn, and we like were running out. We had to buy more yarn. I'm like,
darn.
How did these many people at Burlington know how to knit?
They don't.
They don't. Well, many of them did though.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to knit.
I know how to knit. I love knitting.
I learned how to crochet.
Well, that's good.
And then I stopped, and now I have no idea.
Well, now you do this.
No idea. So another question about the whole
Yes.
bicycle.
School cycle,
the
yes.
School cycle. Thank you. Don't know if you know this or not, but in Malawi, where all the bikes are going,
Yes.
or the money for the bikes
Yes.
are going, is it just the girls that don't have the opportunity for education, or is it like everybody?
So,
If you
I'm not, this is my, what I've gotten from research
Okay.
I've done is that the girls have certain discriminations they face. So, like,
Okay.
boys will have, and I'm not 100% sure about this because I don't have extensive
Okay.
research on Malawi, but I'm pretty sure from the things I've read is that the boys have other opportunities, closer schools. Like, I think schools are segregated and things like that.
Okay.
So there are other issues and discriminations that girls face. Also, the bicycles allow them to be able to safely get to school and safely get
Okay.
home from school, because it's harder to chase someone when they're on a bicycle because they're in such unsafe areas.
Didn't
and when
even
I
think of
read
that.
that,
Okay.
when I read that, I was like, yes, maybe I'm nervous when I walk alone, but like I would never every single day, like adolescent girl, like walking to school and home from school, being worried that someone is gonna like
Kidnap you or
sexually
something.
assault you or
Yeah.
something terrible like that. And so the bicycles not only provide them opportunity to get to school, but they also allow them to have independence and freedom. And if they want to go to the market or whatever, they want to get out of their house, or they can have. And it's also just a way to be able to feel like you have something that that is yours, and it gives more confidence.
Because a lot of times, women in some countries are still considered property. So,
and a lot of countries, women aren't allowed to drive. So having a bicycle, even just like a way of communication, it makes you feel more motivated and like you're important. You're not an object or someone's wife, because in these countries that girl focuses in, the girls are being married at like 14 and 15. Like, that's the average age. I'm 16. I don't want to be married yet. Like, someday, a long time from now.
But
not
now.
Like, being married restricts so much of your opportunity. It doesn't allow you to be, and also once these girls are married to to whoever. There's big age gaps, and these men are then in control of their lives. All these girls are for making more girls. Like, that's their
and then you
sole
also
purpose.
get the problem about domestic violence.
And it's also, if you think about it, how you can make money if they don't have an education, they can't support themselves. So even if they are being abused, they can't leave. How are they going to make money on their own?
Exactly.
They have they're economically tied to these people. They rely on them for food. It's a terrible, it's horrible. And so it's interesting that something is so small that I don't even touch my bicycle could really change
you'd think,
the life of someone, their entire future. And it sounds like, what is one bicycle going to do? And it's like, it's going to change one girl's life.
Yeah, significantly.
Significantly.
Wow.
So that's why, even though the bicycles are expensive, and even though sometimes fundraising for school, little things, people are like, what are you even doing? You're just a high schooler. I'm like, well, there's a high schooler somewhere who's not in high school. So I'm helping them.
Yeah, there's a 14-year-old
who's about to be married.
Yes.
Or whatever. There's other issues that they face, but that's like one of the things that for me it like stood out. I was like, wow. Okay. And
but wait, there's more.
Okay. And when we had this day, they do holiday traditions at Burlington High School, and our Girl Up Club was like, why don't we like have a room, make desserts that empowering women have made for their holiday traditions, show how like even though women are seen as like they're just cooking clean, see what the power of like wanting to do that, creating traditions in that sense can make. And what we ended up doing was we had like a little Kahoot game, which is like an online trivia game which you create. And so we had students come into the classroom, and I think 70 kids interacted with our Kahoot game. And it was so interesting to see the reactions. One of the questions was about what we were just talking about, how girls are, what is the average age girls are married? And it's like, our answers were like, we're like, yeah, like 20, 25, 18, and 14. And everyone was like, this is crazy. I can't believe it's, are you kidding me? And it was like, to see those reactions from kids, to feel like you're actually educating them, to see like the wheels turning that was really cool for us.
It's like, okay, life exists
outside
it's
of
really
128. Even outside, like, it's very difficult for high schoolers. I even find myself to realize, like, there are other people in the world. Like, there is another world that you can't even see, you don't even hear, you don't even know, even like electronically in touch with,
right,
that are facing terrible things.
Yeah. You know, it's the 21st century. It's like,
you think you're connected, but you really are disconnected. Yeah.
Clever.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
Earlier.
Yes.
You talked about when you established Girl Up, you were surprised that Burlington didn't have a chapter.
Yes.
But there are chapters around Massachusetts.
Yes, there's a Boston Coalition, which is a board of like 5 members who are in charge of all the Boston Girl Up clubs. I do not know the exact number, but I did have an experience. The coalition is in touch with me because I'm the president of our chapter, and they were like, the Massachusetts Women's Conference is soon.
Right.
You can enter the lottery to get a free ticket to the Massachusetts Women's Conference. This was back in like earlier in the year. I don't remember when. And I ended up going to the Massachusetts Women's Conference with the Girl Up Boston Coalition. So I was able to make connections. Girl Up really tries to allow you to make connections with other club leaders, other clubs, see what they're doing, how you can recreate it. I met 5 different girls from 5 different clubs, and it was really, really interesting.
Or even instead of recreating, just join forces.
Yeah, for like smaller events and things like that. And there's like a regional summit for the Boston Coalition, and then there's a national summit in July, where all the Girl Up clubs across the world can go to Washington, D.C. For 2 days to, or 3 days to like learn and be empowered.
Or just like network. I mean, that's an amazing opportunity.
Can you imagine all those teenagers? Like, that's so cool.
No.
But like teenage girls that are empowered about making change, like, I'm very excited to go. But that's just an example of
And then your mom's sitting there going, what did I do? I'm going to let my daughter do what?
So, I mean, I'm relatively independent. I'm lucky enough that I get to be independent. So I look forward to that experience.
Wow. Okay. I'm like, look, also glancing through my questions, and it's like, okay, answered this. The advisory council. For either...
I can talk about, another big thing that I really felt passionate about is having leadership opportunities for girls in particular.
Okay.
Or giving like a place, more of a concrete, like, this is what you can do. And not just restricted to girls, but that was what I had in mind. And in Girl Up, when we started meeting, and I was like, I can't handle all this on my own. I need help. I made a board of 6 people other than myself. There's 6 positions.
In the Burlington chapter?
In the Burlington chapter.
Okay.
And they are in charge of various things, like a vice president, treasurer, secretary, inclusion and outreach coordinator, social media director, and
it's got to be a media person in there somewhere.
Our sophomore representative, and he is in charge of, like, him and the girl who's our inclusion and outreach coordinator. They're both kind of in charge of, like, making sure we get more people and continue to be aware of everyone and make sure how can we find other things. So that was the 2 positions I didn't think that were very self-explanatory. And my hope was that they would be, like, senior leadership positions, even though I'm a junior. And what I thought was for, like, the underclassmen or the junior positions would be, I made 5 Girl Up chairs.
Okay.
And they run events. So one of the Girl Up chairs is Ashwini, and she and I planned the yarn event that I was talking about, and there are other events that are coming up from the 4 other chairs, and because Girl Up requires you to have a certain amount of events, and submit like semester reports and things like that to say what you've been doing.
Okay.
And so there's like, whatever I just said, like 12 people who have leadership roles now that they can learn how to run meetings. Like our vice president is fantastic. Layla Kadushi runs meetings frequently and is there. Every single one in the club and every single one in the board are fantastic, like humans. Like we just like love chatting.
It's empowering.
We will ask questions. Another thing is our club meetings are a little like different than like what you would normally expect. Like we try to have some sort of like question opening activity. We talked about like what feminism is, like what the definition of it is in modern days.
So you're learning about stuff.
We're trying to figure out how to incorporate like let girls like their minds grow and develop in, because we don't have a lot of, I mean, we do have a lot of exposure to like world topics or important things, but it gives like a nice safe space where people can talk about issues that are very controversial.
And they're controversial. They're also,
personal, and people, especially because I feel like in today's world,
they're also pretty complicated issues too.
Yes, but it's also very polarized. So there's you're on one side or the other, and that's it. And my goals in all of this is to show like we're all on the same team. Everyone's team human. Like we all
just
want
black or white.
to be. Well, I hope we all want to like be together, and I think Girl Up does a really good job of showing issues rather than being like, this is what's wrong with the world. Like this is concrete evidence. Like there are girls who do not have an education. There are girls who are being married. Like you see the pictures and it's like they're not like no one's making this up.
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing and it's a real issue.
It's not a big government conspiracy.
No,
it's really happening.
And I think that is when people can then start to jump on board, stop being polarized, see real facts that can drive them to maybe, not that everyone needs to be in our club, because not everyone needs to be in our club, but we've had people, we hosted a movie night and like 50 people came just to watch Wonder Woman and like bought concessions for our proceeds to School Cycle, and it was nice because not that everyone necessarily would want to be in our club, but they support us in these events.
Yeah. And
that is what I think. You don't need to call yourself a feminist as long as you believe in those ideals. Like that's as long as you believe that those girls should have an education. I don't care if you're in our club or not.
Exactly. Just support us.
Yes, yes. And we haven't gotten any like backlash, which I thought we were gonna get some sort of like backlash. We've had
then you're doing something right.
Yeah, everyone's been very, very supportive. So it's been really lovely experience.
Okay. Now, we have talked about the international realm of gender discrimination and about how there are girls elsewhere. Do you ever focus on domestic issues?
We have not yet, but my hope, the way I planned in my head of what Girl Up would do is we would focus on global issues, because it's easy to look at other areas, things that aren't in what your world is, like remove yourself and talk about those issues, because they're a little bit worse in the sense that those girls don't have education.
Right.
And then once we develop those concrete like skills to be able to identify things like that, we can bring it back into our world and talk about controversial issues. But we haven't implemented that sort of aspect of our club yet, but I think it is something that I hope we can do.
Because I know,
with time.
child brides and 14-year-olds getting married and 16-year-olds and arranged marriages. I mean, that's happening in the United States.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering.
So we haven't started doing that yet, but I wouldn't say we would never do that, because it's also to establish a club such as Girl Up with feminist values. You can't be extremely bold at the beginning. You need to slowly introduce yourself, explain what you're doing. And I think that's another important thing is we're not extreme. We just want equality. There's so many misconceptions.
You don't want to be a radical. So
our goal is that we want people to stop having those misconceptions and those ideas of wrongness about what our movement is. So first establishing what we are, what we're doing, what the issues in the world are that people are facing. So that's that.
So I'm looking at, some of my questions about the specific ways that what did you find in your research or in your experience so far, the shocking or the most disturbing issues that you want to talk about and you want to help? I mean, is it just the education, or is it, pay scale, or is it child brides, or, well, I already said that.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think it's interesting.
What's the scariest thing that you came across?
It's fascinating to learn about different areas, and I think that what we have learned kind of guides us. So I don't think we're necessarily, we learned about all of the early marriages, and for me that was probably the scariest thing, other than the violence and things like that. But that was something that kind of caught me and was you need to do something about this. No one else is going to do anything. These girls need to stop getting married.
Right.
I can't get over the fact that happens, and so for me that definitely plays a role in the education. There are a lot of factors that are why girls are not in school. It's not just that people
not that it's too far away.
Yes, there's so many things. There's because of wars, and they're trying to get clean water, and so many issues. And for me, I like that we can solve different issues and kind of bring it all together and work for one thing. So I think the education is the underlying thing that you need, because to be a successful human, a productive human, be able to be important, be a leader, you need to be educated. You can't, any dream you might have, any goal you might want to reach is nearly impossible if you don't even have a kindergarten education, high school. You need to be able to read and communicate and effectively have relationships with people other than your family. And I think that is something that I also find extremely upsetting, that there are people who are not necessarily flat out denied, but have so many other issues that they can't even focus on it.
And also, as far as education goes, assuming they have the right or the privilege or whatever to vote.
Yes.
I mean, how do you elect people if you don't understand or you're not aware of?
How do you pay taxes? How do you figure out your money? How do you have any independence from a man? You don't.
Right.
And it's interesting to see how once you give these girls the education, they're more likely to become leaders in the society. They're more likely to be scientists, be the president, be whatever they want to be, because they've learned about it, and then they can think about it and do it.
And realize that there aren't limitations as well. Now, when you do your fundraisers, do you get to decide where the money goes?
Yes.
Do you decide, okay, today we want to work on education in Malawi, now we want to work on clean water in Uganda or something?
So we mainly try to work with what the United Nations provides for us in the sense of school cycle is a great way for us to easily make change.
So they
by
kind of
those
already
bikes.
have programs set.
Yes, but we could also, if we wanted to, reach out to nonprofit organizations, or we were a very flexible Girl Up Club in the sense that we want to be able to make the most change that we feel is necessary. For Girl Up, for these girls, or for really whatever issue we find.
So, I'll let you take a drink, because I'm just, I want to learn more about the relationship that you have with the United Nations. So they kind of have
So they have this really fantastic website that we interact with all the time, called the Girl Up Community. And once you sign up to be a part of a Girl Up Club, you get access to
So it's
the
like an
community.
intraweb type thing.
And you can talk to other clubs, other chapters, other the people who are above you in the Boston Coalition. There are people who work for Girl Up at the United Nations who can reach out to you. We have to submit semester progress reports, so I didn't submit mine because I didn't know where it was, and I emailed this woman, and she responded to me within an hour.
Wow.
It's very fast, and they're very committed to having activities for you to do. I learned about the International Day of the Girl through the Girl Up community, and then they were plan an event. This is 5 things you can do for the event, but you don't have to do those things. And then We started
Here
the
are some
event.
suggestions, but if you want,
We wrote letters to our senators one day for like a club meeting, just like a casual thing about legislation that would help girls gain education, and we learned about it again through the Girl Up community. So the United Nations gives us basically the structure, and then we can work with it. They give us like the outline of what we can do, and then we work with it. We add our own things, revise it, and pick and choose what we want to do.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what are some of the things that you're picking and choosing from? Either stuff that you've done or stuff that you decided not to do? I mean, what are some?
So we most recently have been doing a lot of fundraising because I think that's a way that we can feel as though we're making an impact, like physically with money. But Girl Up has 4 pillars. It's like in a circle. Their like thing is in a circle, and it's educate, advocate, serve, and fundraise. So like they have a 5K that you can run to support local girls in like underprivileged communities. So like that's an example of like a serve event that we could do. Our aspects of the knitting would be considered in that serve event.
Because you're providing a service as opposed to, bless you.
Thank you.
As opposed to like collecting, just like selling the bananas.
So like fundraising, we've done a lot of fundraising, but we could also like shift to advocate. Like there's a lot of different opportunities, and within those,
so you don't have to do all 4?
No.
Or,
they have advocacy,
I wasn't sure if it was
challenges. They want you to be well-rounded, but at the same time, it's a flexible setup.
Rely on your strengths.
Yes.
Okay. Is corporate sponsorship ever an option?
I think you can get sponsors.
Okay.
I know that
I
also.
know that wasn't on the questions.
I'm not 100% sure, but Girl Up does give grants. The United Nations gives grants to certain clubs to implement things in their school or do various activities.
So like if you didn't have the support from the school, they would provide...
Or they would provide a grant that you would then be able to develop support from your school, your community, your world, whatever.
So you could like rent space for your meetings
or
whatever.
Yes. And the Girl Up like organization, I forgot what I was going to say, but like the community, they give you that. So, yes.
So do you have any upcoming fundraisers?
We are planning them, but we are not, like...
You're not going to,
I don't want to say something that we might do, but I would love to tell you about a Girl Scout event. That we recently...
Oh, you can tell me about the Girl Scout event.
That we recently...
Because I was there.
Because you were there.
I was there.
One of the coolest things we've done so far was the Girl Scout International Think Day.
Yes. International Thinking Day.
World Thinking Day. Was the Burlington Girl Scouts was about like impact. How are you going to make an impact? And I was the Burlington Girl Scouts reached out to me, and
you could say I reached out to you because it was my hat. I was wearing my Girl Scout hat.
You reached out to me, and it was so cool because I got to do that presentation.
Yeah, you did a great job.
And you had your presentation, and these like little children are like staring at me, and they're like, oh, and it's just like I was able to effectively explain the issues of gender inequality in the world, and it was thrilling.
And it starts, when kids are 8 years old.
They're so little, and I loved I was inspired by like the future. Like, yes, I'm starting Girl Up, but I want Girl Up.
I'm just thinking, 16 years old, being inspired by the future generation. It's just
like
very interesting concept there.
Having little like younger girls like being like looking up to you is a really cool, physically like looking up, but also like mimicking actions in the sense that like they made blankets to donate to a shelter in a similar kind of mirroring our event, and they like were so excited to learn, and I loved that they were so eager to learn and participate and advocate, and it was exciting because I did start Girl Up, but like I'm a junior. I'm going to graduate high school at some point, and I want Girl Up to continue to be a club at Burlington High School. We're one of the like top 4 or 5 clubs, and we started in September. Like,
whoa!
How do we have 50 members? Like, it's a lovely community and an amazing environment, and I want it to continue. So having those girls like looking at us and being inspired by us.
I have a news flash about that activity. So time for you to take a break, and I'm going to, toot my own proverbial horn. So International Thinking Day, or Founders Day, is a day where Girl Scouts recognize that they are also a global organization. And their founder, Juliette Lowe, when she passed away back a long time ago, her friends started the Juliette Lowe Friendship Fund, which is a fund to help Girl Scouts either domestically or internationally buy uniforms or transportation to and from meetings or supplies or anything. So we did the little coin games, and we collected coins, and the coin toss or the coin in the jar or whatever. I broke the bank machine.
That's
donating all those coins,
fantastic.
And it was $217 in loose change that the girls collected.
Fantastic.
So that is in the mail to the Juliette Lowe Friendship Fund.
I love that.
So I think you will have some future fundraisers coming up, bridging coming up.
Like things like that, like little kids there's so much more for them to do now. Like it's so much more inspiring for them to be able to interact in these activities and learn so much at such a young age. I think it's so crucial.
Or learn that they can empower themselves, just like the girl in Malawi with the bicycle.
Yes.
So it's like these girls at the age of 6 and up are realizing that they can make an impact.
Definitely.
And it's nice to know that they don't necessarily need Girl Scouts to do it. There are other resources available, like Girl Up.
Yes.
Now, have you thought about this was a great collaborative between different organizations. Would you have any intention or desire to network with other like-minded organizations, not necessarily Girl Up, or do you just want to stick with Girl Up for right now?
I think that this is our first year.
Yes.
Piloting our club, reaching out to BCAT, reaching out to the Girl Scouts.
I can think of the next 20 years. What do you get? No.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's been a good experience for us to get our feet under ourselves, be able to have something be grounded.
And you are hitting the ground running.
Yes, and in the future, and I think it's something to definitely keep in mind, for when I'm a senior, and that what the future of the club will be, because I think partnering with other organizations, even partnering with other clubs, the Rotary Club or other things like that, could be a good way to get more members, or even fundraise more, or empower more, or do things like that.
Now, we still have plenty of time.
Okay.
But I would like to talk about you again.
You'd like to talk about me?
I want to talk about you.
Okay.
So, apparently with all the AP courses and honors courses and, cheering, everything that you're doing, you are very ambitious. But I'm wondering, what kind of skills do you think you have gained by participating in Girl Up?
Personally, I think that I had skills and things that I thought I could do. I always loved doing presentations in school. When someone would be like, "Oh, we have an oral on Friday," I'd be like, "Let's go!"
Let's do it.
I
Why
love
wait till
that.
Friday?
But having an ability to now put those skills into something important has given me more confidence, in the sense that I know what I'm doing is important, and I know ambition is important, and I have gained the awareness of, I guess, my skills.
Yeah.
And I think also being able to network with other people, communicate with other teenagers, is a really surprisingly difficult skill, because especially about planning and doing events, it's not always easy to get everyone to meet, get everyone to plan. So learning how to deal with those different issues, I think I've been able to grasp that a little stronger. Yeah.
Is there anything that you hope to get out of Girl Up? I mean, personally? Yeah, it's nice to save the world, but what does Jessie want?
My mom will say this when I had that first meeting, I got in the car and I was so like giddy and happy, and like for me having something that like really motivates me and really inspires me, that is what's making this so like fun. I would talk about this for 3 hours with you. I would just continue talking about it. Like
sequel.
I love it. Like what I'm getting out of it, I'm so happy about it. Like most times you don't get those things from most extracurricular activities. But I'm saying like even like I love cheerleading. It's something that I like competitively. I love it. Okay. But I don't have a similar. This is a different kind of like pride, I guess, and sense of like you're doing something good and it's important and it's relevant. It makes you feel like you are more like adult, like I guess. Like you're doing something important. You have value.
A lot of adults don't even think about that.
Yes, but I don't know. That's really what I guess I've gained from it, and I hope to continue to gain. Is just like I can't stop smiling when I talk about it.
Yay!
It's like when parents are so proud of their children. Like I just like am so
this
proud
is my
of
baby.
Girl
Up
and I've
my
like
baby.
grown into this like club that so many I love it.
Okay, so moving forward, you are a junior.
I'm a junior, and also they have Girl Up clubs at colleges. Many schools, so like I could continue that.
Well, I was thinking Girl Up aside.
Girl Up aside.
Has this experience impacted what you want to go to college for?
So.
Or what you want to study, or where you want to study?
Yes.
Tell me more. Because you're probably starting to think about where you're going to apply.
I'm someone who plans a lot, so I like to know what
That's so
doing.
Shocking.
But I, for a long time, was like really torn between what I wanted to do when I grew up. Like I was like, I really like computer science.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
I know what you mean. I really liked the aspects of business and marketing, and I also really liked political science, similar, like making a change. And what I've decided most recently, and what I think is going to be my path, is I really want to go into computer science, get a skill set, learn how to there's two things I get really happy about all the time. Girl Up and my intro to programming class. You should have seen me today. I was like, me and my friend Ananya finished our program and we like jumped up and down. We were so like exciting. So those two things I'm so passionate about. So I would love for one day to be able to integrate my skills in computer science to whether it's, I really wanted to do computer science, and I also take AP statistics, so like predicting probabilities, connecting the two, which is like a really, data analytics is like a huge field right now.
Yeah.
And so kind of like interweaving those two passions, or even like there's literally computer science in every field. So whether I wanted to do computer science.
Computers basically control our lives right now.
So to have a skill set and then be able to do something at any company and be passionate about that. That's kind of my goal one day, is to be able to merge both of them together, or even after I have a hopefully successful career as like a computer science person or whatever, data analyzer. I hope to be able to, at one point, like maybe when I have children, like work for a nonprofit, or then get back into this kind of fundraising, volunteer as like an advisor or something.
Changing the world.
It's going to be in my life forever, because it really inspires me and makes me so happy all the time. So that's kind of my vibe.
I like that.
Or like go to computer science and get a minor in like, go to school for computer science and get like a minor in women's studies or something like that, or concentration. There's so many options in today's world to like do everything you want.
You can do anything.
Thank you. I hope to.
And you can do anything. And you will do anything. So it seems like even though Girl Up has only been around for 5 months? 5, 6?
Many.
A few.
I think it's 6. I think you're right.
You do, do you have plans for ensuring that the organization will continue once you leave Burlington High School?
So, I am a junior.
Yes.
So my goal for next year is to really focus on cultivating Girl Up from within. So whether that is reaching out to the Girl Scouts or reaching out to the middle school or somehow making a mentorship connection, that is something that's definitely on my radar, because I think somehow inspiring girls at a young age can do a lot for you when you're trying to get them back to come to your club.
Well, even like, studies here have shown that, girls don't like math. And that actually starts like in kindergarten and first grade.
The reason I love math and I love
Which is
computer
a good thing.
science, but I had this fantastic teacher, computer science teacher last year, and she really was the one who like, I kind of like saw myself, like I was I saw that someone like me
I could see myself
computer
doing that.
science,
Yeah,
like a computer science person, and like I think the more girls that young girls see, the more women that young girls see in those roles, then you could see. If you can't physically see someone that looks like you in a role, you're never gonna aspire to it. That's why there's very few women in the government, like
or like NASA. Or
something, there's just very few females, because there's few females, so then less females are.
There aren't many role models.
There's no role models. So my goal, like, there's 2 girls in my computer science class. So
we need to change.
And there's 20 kids. It's not like it's a small class. Like, so it's getting them when they're young, or getting someone that can really communicate on like such a personal level, like where you can see yourself. I think makes a big difference.
Which spawns another question. With the Girl Up Charter, so the United Nations, how they, have you establish your organization, do you have to be high school, or could you eventually, not you personally, but could the Burlington chapter of Girl Up eventually reach down into the middle school?
I am so sure that they could. I think that there are a lot of sensitive topics that some areas of Girl Up covers, but I think you could talk about education very strictly, or certain causes very specifically, and I don't think that would. I think that would be an amazing thing, and that's another goal we've been trying to think. Just brainstorming. We haven't like reached out to the middle school, but how to like maybe reach out to, maybe make it an activity block, or do something where like once a week we go there. Do something.
Or just do like a special fundraising event that invites them, or something. Yeah. Like the change thing at the Girl Scouts.
Yes. So it's definitely on our radar.
Excellent. I'm like looking at my notes, and I think you kind of answered everything.
I could talk about this.
Talk about something else.
Okay, let me see, what else can I tell you about Girl Up that I haven't already told you. Well,
can you tell me more about the leadership summit going on this summer?
I can. Ish. I know that there's a leadership summit.
Okay. How many people do they expect there?
I don't know that.
Okay. Another question. As you were talking, you talked about the communication among all the chapters internationally. Is there a language barrier?
I think that most of the clubs that I have communicated with have been in my smaller community, and the idea is that as you get to the leadership grader, they then reach out to other communities, but I'm sure there's a language barrier in some areas. Like there are Girl Up clubs in Africa and other countries around the world, and I'm sure there is a language barrier.
Now, are you studying another language?
I study Spanish.
Spanish, okay, that's a good language to learn.
Yes. So I do study Spanish, and I think that language, although there are many barriers with it, it can provide, like once you learn another language, can provide a lot of opportunities.
Exactly. Now, when we were talking about, I'm just going in random order, so sorry to put you on the spot if I am. Talking about the different fundraising activities that you do.
Yes.
Do you have like specific goals in mind? Like, I think you kind of already answered this.
When we're planning them?
But when you're planning them, like the whole Rosie the Riveter thing.
So we definitely,
the bandana thing.
As
was
I
that
said,
just a fundraiser?
Yeah,
or was
so
that, did you talk about Rosie at all and about,
I think that we had a big focus at the beginning about educating people about education.
Well, yeah.
And it was like, how can we tell them? How can they know? What do they don't know what's going on. It's more like educate, engage, and then act. So for us, which I think I would repeat again, is like educate your community, educate what's going on, educate about the issues in the world, and then engage them in the movie night, engage them in our Kahoot game or whatever.
So right now, the fundraisers are I don't want to say limited because that sounds so
I would
confining,
say they have
but
3.
It's just within the it's within the high school.
Yes,
So
yes. Our like target
eventually-
population is in the high school.
Thank you.
I just wrote a deca paper about my public relations project of Girl Up. So
You'll have to have a Girl Up tent at Celebrate Burlington.
oh, that's a fantastic idea. When Celebrate Burlington?
It's always the first Saturday in August. So yeah, plenty of time.
Okay, yeah, plenty of time
Plenty
to
of
plan. That's
time.
after the Girl Up Summit. So
Exactly. So you'll come back all energized,
Yes,
and then you can have a
very,
little
very
table there.
excited.
And because I'm just wondering, like, do you work with community governments, or
I'm sure we could do advocacy and with the community, with community governments.
a presentation at the library?
Yeah,
or
yeah, or
something.
even like the school committee. Or
Yeah.
there's so many local opportunities. I don't even know if we've explored. I guess.
Well, as you said, and as you have to keep reminding me because I keep forgetting, because you seem so well established. This is your first year out.
But I enjoy talking about our goals and our future plans, and I think at the end of this year I'll try to have a meeting with everyone and kind of like reflect on what we did well, what we didn't do well, how we could improve. I think that's a very important part about
absolutely.
the future.
You have to do that all the time.
Of course.
In everything.
I think that another thing that Girl Up does that I think other clubs at Burlington High School do, but Girl Up also tries to do, is like continuously remind the kids. We're not one of those clubs that meets once every whenever maybe. So we try to meet every other Wednesday. We're on the morning announcements. We have flyers all around the school. We really try to communicate with the kids or the students at Burlington. We really try to like reach as far out as we can.
Now, when you're communicating, are you communicating saying, this is what Girl Up does, or do you say, are
when
you
we're doing
working on the issues?
I think that specific communication is like, come to the club meeting, come to the event. And then when we're there, once we get them in our area, we can be like, this is the issue, this is what's going on, this is how it affects us. And I've had people be like, when's the next movie night? Where, like, I'm excited for, like, when? And I think, like, something like that is nice that people are, like, asking. And I'm like, I don't know yet. But I think we're going to definitely try to repeat the movie night in the future. We're probably going to try to do...
now, is the movie night at the school, or do you, like, just...
So we
talk to AMC and...
No. The librarian at Burlington High School, I had a freshman year teacher, and she is fantastic, and she let us use the library for our movie night in December, and we played Wonder Woman. I don't know if I talked about this yet.
You did mention it.
Okay, mention it. Okay. And we raised like $100 or $200 again then, Showcase Cinemas donated us popcorn, and we
that's cool.
sold the popcorn, and we sold food with some of the Wegmans gift cards. So we've everything. The Burlington community has been so supportive of us in donations and ways to make us not have to pay for things and donate all of our money to these organizations.
Well, yeah, so you can actually help the people that you want to help because you're not worried about like the overhead, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, we also, I think, look forward to reaching out to other Burlington community type things, like maybe hosting some sort of cycling event. There's so many like cycling places in Burlington, or just that was a random example of like.
But it's a good example.
But like we're hoping to have fundraisers that can engage not only high schoolers but other community members, because I know there are some community members that have reached out to me and been like, I want to help. How can I help?
You know what? I glanced over at the time, and there were 5 minutes left, and I just glanced over now, and we're out of time.
Oh my goodness.
So I want to thank you very much for coming. This is like really exciting.
Yay.
You got me energized now. And I want to thank everyone at home for tuning in, and I hope you are as energized and as excited about my young guest and the future of our community. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you around town. Good night.